This video, we're going to delve back into the conspiracy theory category, and this is going to be a throwback video. I've actually done this one before, and I'm going to be rehashing it here on this channel. This is going to be the top 10 least likely to most likely end of the world scenarios. Okay guys, welcome back. So just to let you know, I'm not actually going to be doing this myself right here and right now. I'm going to be re-uploading one of my older videos and kind of touching it up a little bit. So just so you know ahead of time, this video I might mention some events that happened back in October or September, and I may be citing them as recent when at this point, while they're still recent, they're not all that, that recent, I guess, for lack of a better term. But basically, I'm going to, like I said, re-upload this, add some pictures to it, and then let you guys listen to it. It's my least likely to most likely end of the world scenarios, and I'm going to let that video run. So just keep in mind, this is an older video. I did this video back, I believe, in October. So if you hear anything or something I'm referring to, just keep that in mind. And I hope you guys enjoy it. I'm going to go over my top 10 end of the world scenarios from least likely to most likely that could happen within the next 20 years. So here we go. So at number 10, Nibiru. Nibiru. If you haven't heard of Nibiru, Nibiru is the theory that there is a rogue planet that has a large orbit and is in right now, and this changes every couple of years, which is on a collision course with Earth. In other words, this planet is at some point going to come into course with Earth and smash right into it, and boom, goodbye. We're all gone. We're smashed. We're all floating through space. If you ever seen the movie Melancholia with Kristen Dunst and Kiefer Sutherland, it's an indie film, and that's pretty much what the story's about. Well, the story is, it's kind of one of those double things. Like, Melancholia is the name of the rogue planet in that movie, and basically, while Kirsten Dunst's character is getting married and living her life, this rogue planet is coming close to Earth. It's actually a pretty decent movie, and there's a nude scene with Kristen Dunst, and boy, she's got a rack. I never knew she had a rack that big. So check it out. If you have Amazon Prime, it's actually on there for free. That's how I saw it. So Nibiru is this rogue planet was supposed to be hitting us within the last 10 years. I mean, every time it's supposed to hit us and it never does, then the people who believe in this, and you'd be surprised how many people believe in this scenario, they come back and they say, oh, this is why, and it'll hit 3 years from now, and so on and so forth. It even was supposed to hit during the whole 2012 thing. So that is number 10 on my list. And the thing of it is, if we did have a rogue planet that had an orbit that was dead set on hitting us at some point, I think if it was coming close, we would see it. We would see it. So that's number 10, and we'll scratch that one off. Okay, so number 9, the polar shift. This was supposed to occur during the whole 2012 phenomenon, and it's still a very popular topic. A lot of people think that pole shift will occur in such a way that either, I've heard many different things, global catastrophe with massive earthquakes, volcano eruptions, tectonic plates shifting, and then I've even heard as much as people losing their, almost like a worldwide worldwide vertigo. You know, you lose your balance, you fall to the ground, everything looks like it's spinning. Now, the thing about polar shift has happened before, and polar shift can occur, but it's actually a very slow process, from what I've read. Who knows what the truth is? But according to NASA, it has happened before. It is a fact, but it's not something that happens over a span of 48 hours. It happens over a course of like 3,000 or 4,000 years. We barely feel it, and you could actually go. I can't remember the website, but there was a website that shows you the difference of the equator within the last couple of years, or how even an earthquake can kind of shift the pole a little bit. So polar shift is my number 9 on least likely. So at number 8, we have a black hole created by the Hadron Collider. So the Hadron Collider is this massive, massive machine. I think it's in Switzerland. Stephen Hawking, I think, was one of the many creators of this thing. And basically, it's a machine to replicate and measure particle collision and energy and study particle theories and stuff like that. So anyway, when it first was created, a lot of people were scared because they believed that by tampering with certain elements of the universe and how they work, that it was the potential for a black hole to develop and suck the Earth into it. So I don't mean to laugh. I mean, I guess something like that could happen. I don't want to ever say, with the exception of Nibiru, I don't ever want to say that anything can't happen. I think it's, in my opinion, remote. But if they are messing with particles that actually exist in space, if they're either recreating them or replicating them and colliding them, I guess there's a chance. I don't know. I'm not a scientist, and while I did pretty good in my physics class, my physics doesn't go that deep. So that's number 8. Number 7, solar flares. So the reason I have this pretty high up is because we get hit by solar flares all the time, and even according to NASA and some other factual articles you can read online, just find the right sources. Everybody has their opinion, but there are factual articles out there that you can read. NASA's a good source of information. So solar flares, I mean, we get hit with them all the time. It is fact that if we got hit by a massive solar flare that could not only knock out, cell phone power or cell phone connectivity, but could even knock out the grid, then yeah, you have a doomsday scenario, because we're so reliant on power as not only a country but the world, that if we were to lose power or the grid were to drop, we'd pretty much be done. Because a lot of us now are not trained to survive in the wild. We pretty much, there are some people out there who are, but we would pretty much, most of us probably perish without power because we're too reliant on it. So, but it's slim. It's slim because it's all about timing. That flare would have to unleash at the right time in the right direction. So, but it is possible, just highly unlikely, according to NASA. Alien invasion. Yeah, it's hard to think that this is more likely than a solar flare, but I have it at number 6 because I do believe in aliens. I do believe that there are other creatures in the universe. I'm not too arrogant to think that we're the only ones in the. When you consider the sheer size of the universe, I'm not arrogant enough of a human to believe that A, we're the only ones that exist, and B, that if there are others out there, that we have better technology. I think it's safe to say, while most UFO encounters or alien stories or whatever are full of shit, there are some special cases that are legitimate or hard to explain. So, I think this is something when you consider, and maybe we'll get into this in another video one day, but there's some really, really good content and research regarding certain cases that are pretty staggering if you haven't seen them. So, but we'll get into that one day in another video in this subject category. So, number 5, super volcano. This is actually very possible. When you consider that volcanoes are dormant, they can burst at any time. It's not a matter of if, it's a matter of when. And there's quite a few of them around the world, but we have one in this country. Yellowstone is a super volcano, and the reason that's a doomsday scenario. If you don't know about super volcanoes, a supervolcano is a much larger, much more massive volcano than what you would see like in Hawaii. And when these volcanoes erupt, they erupt with such power and with such ferocity that the ashes could actually, over time, cover the planet. And so when you get something like that, you get almost a nuclear winter. You get no sunlight, so your ecosystem starts to get destroyed. Wildlife starts to get destroyed, and then eventually us as humans, because the things that we feed off of, plants and animals, would cease to exist. So number 4 is near-Earth object, asteroids, comets, and we don't really even have to go into too much detail with that, because everyone knows by now that that's a Russian roulette. That can happen at any given moment. So it's definitely more likely than the other ones. Bioterrorism, that's a big topic. When you consider all these countries who flirt with the idea of using bioterror, and then you consider what happened in Syria recently. Obviously, that's a very, very risky thing. So go out and get your gas mask. You know what I mean? Number 2, nuclear war. Everybody's got nukes. We got nukes. Russia's got nukes. Iran's got nukes. It was believed that Iraq had nukes, but that proved to be, but that was back in the day. Obviously, everybody knows North Korea's working on nukes. China's probably got them. Israel's got them. So that is simple. That's as much as a push of the button. And finally, number 1, economic collapse. We're probably on the verge of that right now. When you consider the government shutdown, when you consider that every time they raise the debt ceiling, the value of the dollar goes down. Basically, once America loses control of the oil, or once the oil runs out, because it will, it's not that stuff's not replenishable. It'll go eventually. And if we continue selling our debt to other countries, in particular China, pretty soon we're going to be broke. I mean, we're broke now. I was watching today, $17 trillion in debt. So, I think economic collapse is probably the most likely one to happen within the next 20 years, if not sooner, because, I mean, we're already kind of dealing with that right now. Things are slow out there. There's still a kind of recession, and now these guys are fighting over dumb stuff, Obamacare and the government shutdown. There's 800,000 people out of work. My brother-in-law, who's in the military, he also works for the VA. He's not getting paid now, and it's a bad deal. So, guys, start backing up some of your stuff. If we do go through an economic collapse, the first thing you're going to deal with is inflation. So, my suggestion to you would be start stockpiling a little bit of food, and maybe get yourself a little weapon in case people riot. I have a gun, so I don't play. But that's it. That's my top 10 doomsday slash end of the world, I guess, scenarios that are likely to happen in the next 20 years, from least likely to most. Obviously, the top three, economic collapse, nuclear war, bioterror, are probably the three ones that are unfortunately closer to reality than the rest of the ones on the list. So, but so far we've managed to avoid it, and hopefully it continues that way, because I like to live. So, but anyway, give me your thoughts. For those of you who are interested in this kind of subject, what do you think is more than likely to happen? Is there perhaps a scenario you know of, or that you feel is likely to happen in the next 20 years that I left off the list? And other than that, tell me what you have to say. If you have any kind of suggestions or videos you would like me to do on this kind of subject, which I tend to call conspiracy theories or pseudo entertainment, let me know. I'll be more than happy to do it. Until then, I'll see you next video. Take it easy. Hey guys, welcome to Entertainment Talk Nation. I'm your host Rob. This video we're going to delve back into the conspiracy theory category, and this is going to be a throwback video. I've actually done this one before, and I'm going to be rehashing it here on this channel. This is going to be the top 10 least likely to most likely end of the world scenarios. Okay guys, welcome back. So just to let you know, I'm not actually going to be doing this myself right here and right now. I'm going to be re-uploading one of my older videos and kind of touching it up a little bit. So just so you know ahead of time, this video I might mention some events that happened back in October or September, and I may be citing them as recent, when at this point, while they're still recent, they're not all that, that recent, I guess, for lack of a better term. But basically, I'm going to, like I said, re-upload this, add some pictures to it, and then let you guys listen to it. It's my least likely to most likely end of the world scenarios, and I'm going to let that video run. So just keep in mind, this is an older video. I did this video back, I believe, in October. So if you hear anything or something I'm referring to, just keep that in mind. And I hope you guys enjoy it. I'm going to go over my top 10 end of the world scenarios from least likely to most likely that could happen within the next 20 years. So here we go. So at number 10, Nibiru. Nibiru. If you haven't heard of Nibiru, Nibiru is the theory that there is a rogue planet that has a